Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you guys all the 20 books, yes, 20 books that I read for September. Now, the first one I read for September was a reread, and after I started it, I didn't realize that I actually reread it a year or two ago, so I kind of goofed up on that one, but anyways. I reread A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. This is a favorite of mine. I've seen the movie many times. I've only read the book 3 times. I love the movie because Mandy Moore is in it, and I was such a big fan of Mandy Moore in the 2000s with her music and then with her acting. I have not watched This Is Us yet. I know that she was in that, and that ended last year. I do plan to watch that eventually. I'm just not sure when because my emotional state is still very high after losing my dad. But I rated this 5 stars. I really liked it. Not much changed with my thoughts on this when I did reread it. So it's basically the same as I posted on Goodreads, on Storygraph, on Instagram, and on my book blogs. The next one I read, which was a chunker, and I won it through Library Thing. Well, actually, the author sent me this copy because I had won book 2 in Library Thing, and she wanted to know if I wanted to read book 1. So, I read Haunt by Christina Marzotis. It is a chunker. It is about, I think it's like 800 pages. Yeah, it's 760, but still it's close to 800 pages. This was really, really good. I absolutely love her as an author. There was horror was mentioned in here, but there weren't a lot of aspects of horror, so I don't call this a horror book, but it's definitely a historical romance. It's set in the Wild West. This woman fell for this guy, and then she finds out that he is like a Western serial killer. So she's trying to figure out what to do about that, and then she finds out that he wants to kidnap her. So it talks about that she struggles with, but this has historical fiction in it, it has romance in it, it's literary fiction. It's extremely, extremely good. It's got a little bit of fantasy in it, but if you're looking for a book to just sit down and read for days or even a week, I highly suggest this one. Next one I read, which I won on Bookish First, was Hidden Cargo by Robin Lloyd. This one was set after the Civil War. It was about a Navy lieutenant who is awaiting to be discharged from Key West, Florida. But the war left him bitter, so he's trying to help these people who were captured during the Civil War. So it talks about that. It talks about Cubans. It's got a Cuban American woman in it. So I rated this 5 stars. It's my first time reading this. I really like the way Robin Lloyd wrote this and told the story. I found it very interesting. I highly recommend this one. Next one I read, which I won on Library Thing, was Curse by Christina Marzotis, the same one that wrote Haunt. I rated this 5 stars. Again, the same thoughts of Haunt I had for Curse. This one was really well developed. It basically continued with the female character's storyline. Book 3 does not come out till next year, so I'm really looking forward to getting that one and continuing this, but I highly recommend these. Next one I read that wasn't as good for me as I thought it'd be was Beth and Amy by Virginia Cantra. I liked that it was a retelling of Little Women. I just didn't feel it was very realistic for Amy. I felt like Beth's story was more realistic. So I rated this 3 stars. I will be donating it to a used bookstore or just giving it to somebody if there's a book exchange. But I didn't care for this one. Next one I read was Daughter of the Loom by Tracy Peterson. This was my first time reading this series by Tracy. I really liked it. I really felt for the female main character, Lily, after losing her father. I am navigating through that still after losing my father a year and a half ago. So I could really relate to this. I rated it 5 stars. I can't wait to read the rest in the series. Next one I read that I really loved, which I was surprised about, was Daring to Dream by Nora Roberts. This is book 1 in the Dream trilogy. I did not care for book 2, but I really liked this one, so I might be rethinking book 2. But yeah, I really liked this one. Next one I read, which I won through Bookish First, was Totally Psychic by Bridget Martin. This is a middle grade young adult fantasy about I have to remember what ethnicity she is. Okay, about a Spanish, I think it's Spanish, Spanish girl growing up, and she learns that she's psychic, that her mom's psychic, her grandma's psychic, so she's trying to learn about that, and she starts her own social media platform based on that. It was a really cute book. I rated it 5 stars. I will definitely read more by Bridget in the future. Next one I read that I won on Library Thing was Something More by Jackie Kalila. I think I said her last name right. If she sees this video, I apologize if I chopped up your last name. But I really like this one. This is about an autistic teen girl who goes to a new high school. So yeah, I really like this one. It's about a girl who's autistic. And she starts a new high school, and she's trying to navigate that. She also finds out that she likes these 2 boys. She likes him a little more than the other one, but she doesn't like how he is playing a game with her between her and another girl, so it basically navigates through that. I rate it 5 stars. I really, really love it. I hope this becomes a series because I think it would be a really good, series. Next ones I read, which were rereads, were At Home in Mitford, and then I read the ebook of Light in the Window, and then I reread these High Green Hills, and then I read Plain Proposal. Those were all 5 stars for me. I also read some ebooks this month, which were Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I rated that 5 stars. I also read The Last Duke Standing, which is by Julia London. I rated that 5 stars. I read the audiobook of The Last Child by John Hart. I rated that 5 stars. I also read While the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. I rated that 5 stars. I also read, I read The Decision. I reread a bunch of Amish fiction books. I rated The Decision 5 stars. I rated Half Stitch Quilting, Amish Quilting Club 5 stars. I also read Revelation in Autumn, which was also another reread for 5 stars. So those are all the books I read for September. If there's any I mentioned that you've read or that you think of reading, let me know your thoughts on that. That's it for now. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!